So there's this idea out there called manifestation. It's certainly not a new idea, but it's definitely one of those buzzwords that's gaining traction on the internet. There's been movies about it and books, and popular thought leaders have endorsed it, including Oprah. And it's something that deals directly with the spiritual and physical realms. But is it biblical? By the way, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, manifestation is this idea. It's also called the laws of attraction. And the thought is that you can bring your desires into this reality through attraction and through belief and changing your mindset. That you can manifest and bring into reality the things that you think about. So is this all just a bunch of hocus pocus? Or is this something maybe more sinister disguising itself as something good? Or is it actually biblical? The answer might surprise you. Let's take a look.
Attention, bargain shoppers.
So before we dive in, a couple of caveats, if you will. First, I'm not a manifestation expert. I've read some stuff, I've watched some stuff. I feel like I can talk intelligently about it. But if I get anything wrong, please feel free to let me know in the comments. Secondly, this video is not an endorsement of manifestation. All I want to do today is simply explore a couple of key components of the idea of manifestation and kind of run them through a Bible filter. I'm going to give you information and a perspective, and then you can decide with that what you will, if this is something you want to buy into or not. With that, let's get into some core concepts of manifestation. The first concept, and pretty much the one that summarizes the whole idea of it, is you can manifest anything you desire. The idea is that there are two realities, our spiritual reality and our physical reality. And what we do in the spiritual can affect the physical and vice versa. And we know this to be true. They've done studies. For one example, they had a group of people look at themselves in the mirror every day and say positive affirmations like, way to go, you're going to have a great day, you're the man, you're handsome. And then another group of people, they have them say negative things like, you're stupid, you're an idiot, you're foolish. And obviously you can guess which group had the better time of it. And they didn't do anything physically different. They only changed their mindset. And their mindset influenced their reality. But how far can this idea actually go? See, people who buy into manifestation believe you can manifest anything you desire. Wealth, relationships, social status, a job, anything you want in your life. You can manifest anything you desire. And this concept is a little controversial because people listen to that and they immediately think some negative things like, that's really selfish. Desire is bad. What if what you ask for doesn't manifest? That sounds like foolishness. But this statement is surprisingly biblical. If we look at Psalm 37:4, it reads, "Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart." Now, when this verse is used in churches, it almost always comes with some sort of disclaimer. God will give you the desires of your heart as long as you don't desire something too crazy. God will give you the desires of your heart as long as it's realistic and obtainable. But then you look at other verses, like in Luke 11, it says, "So I say to you, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you." So is that seek and you will find as long as you don't seek too much? Ask and it will be given to you as long as you don't ask for something way too lofty? People who believe in manifestation ask the question, what if we took God at his word? What if he actually would give us all the desires of our heart? Now, I've listened to a bunch of interviews with Abraham Hicks. She's kind of an expert on manifestation and goes around speaking with places. And whenever the interview starts off, he always starts off with kind of the same type of question. He'll ask sarcastically, like, how do I manifest a really nice car? And what she usually does in response is kind of breaks down that question into its key components. She'll say, first of all, why did you ask that sarcastically? Do you have negative thoughts around that desire? Do you feel like it's wrong to desire a really nice car? Or do you feel like you can't obtain a really nice car? Then she'll explore it a little more and say, do you really desire a really nice car? Is it something you wake up every day thinking about? It's in the back of your mind. It's in your heart, tugging at your soul that you just really believe and see yourself in a really nice car. But maybe you examine it a little closer and think, man, I really want a nice car because I want the status that comes along with it. And I want the status because that's something that's really attractive to women. Okay, so then it's not the car that is your desire, it's a relationship. So then we take it a little bit further and you might say, well, why do you want a relationship? And if you're being honest with yourself, you might say, well, because I don't feel fulfilled right now. And I think if I got this relationship, it would fulfill me. And it's like, all right, your true desire is fulfillment. So you see where I'm going with this? there's this kind of cultural perspective that it's wrong to have desires, that it's selfish. So better just to pretend they don't exist or set the bar low. And we resign ourselves to this mediocre life. But that is not what God wants for you. He made you to be vibrant and living creatures full of passions and desires and hopes and goals, dreams and wants and aspirations. He wants you to live your best life. In Ephesians 3, it reads, "And to know this love of Christ surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to the measure of all the fullness of God. Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than we all ask or imagine." He is able to do immeasurably more than we can ask or imagine. Do you believe that? Do you believe that you have access to a God without limits? God created the entire universe. In Genesis, it says that he spoke the earth into existence. Do you believe God has the power to create Adam from the dust, but not the power to find a relationship for you? Do you believe God has the power to create mountains and not bless you financially? Do you believe God has the power to raise people from the dead, but not heal you from your health issues? Do you believe that he can and wants to bless you? Psalm 37:4 says, "Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart." But Adam, I hear you say, I've prayed the prayer. I've been praying for years and it hasn't manifested. What's the deal? Well, people who practice manifestation have this process of attuning their minds to the frequencies of the universe, for aligning themselves with God's will for your life. For example, someone who believes in manifestation would say, don't force it, allow it. So if we look back at the Psalm that says, "Take delight in the Lord, he will give you the desires of your heart." Does it read, "Take delight in the Lord and just try really hard to get what you want"? Does it say, "Take delight in the Lord, and if you make all the right moves, everything will work out"? "Take delight in the Lord and make sure you know the right people"? No, it says, "Take delight in the Lord. He already knows the desires of your heart, and he will be the one to give them to you." Don't force it to happen. Don't stress about it. You don't need to fight for it. You only need to allow him to work. And in order for you to let go and allow God to manifest your desires, there needs to be two ideas that you accept. One, that God has a plan for you and the plan is good. There's a famous Bible verse in Jeremiah that says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." Without trust, you won't be able to let go. And if you can't let go, the more you hold on, the more you force it, the more you're going to keep yourself from manifesting that desire. People in manifestation circles would say you're building up resistance. You have to be able to let go. And the second thing you have to accept is that manifestation takes time. You get down on your knees, you ask God for a spouse, and then you wonder why it doesn't happen tomorrow. But you see, a farmer doesn't plant seeds and then the next day go out and stomp in the ground and say, "Why aren't you growing?" There is a gestation period for your desires. John 14:14 says, "You may ask me for anything in my name and I will do it." But it doesn't say God will do it right this second. He could for sure. And when you pray, you're starting to tap in to God's power. But you may not be ready to receive your blessing right now. You may have a distorted paradigm. If we go back to the fancy car example, you dig beneath the surface and you realize that it's fulfillment that you're looking for, not the car itself. God doesn't want to give you what you think you need. He wants to actually bless you. My daughter might ask me if she could go play in the sprinkler outside, when I know that she'd have a blast going to a water park. So I've already bought the tickets, I've already got a date on the calendar, but she's going to have to wait for this amazing experience to manifest. 2 Peter 3:8-9 says, "But do not forget this one thing, dear friends. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. The Lord is not slow in keeping with his promises, as some understand slowness. Instead, he's patient with you, not wanting anyone to perish." So you ask God for the job and he hears you. And he who sits outside of time says, "Okay, at this point in time, I'm going to give him the job. That guy's going to retire. I will open a position." But because you don't know God has done this already, you keep praying, "Please God, give me the job. Please God, give me the job," when he has already created a plan for you. You have to trust him and you have to be patient. There is a lot to this idea of manifestation, and this video is by no means a how-to guide. But there is one more key concept that I want to explore today. And with manifestation, you have to approach it with the mindset that it has already happened. God exists outside of time. From his perspective, your entire life has already happened. It is not a mystery to him. A common practice in manifestation, or the laws of attraction, is meditation. And as you meditate, they tell you to think about your desire as having already happened. And imagine what you'd feel like when the desire happens, and experience the joy and the fulfillment that you would get from having that desire. If you get fixated on the fact that it hasn't happened yet, you reinforce the lack, and you'll keep being stuck where you are. And thinking about the future as already having happened, as God or the universe already having this thing set aside for you, you can experience it now and attract it to you, manifesting your desire. For me, I'm a really practical person, and this is kind of a weird concept. It kind of feels like almost psyching yourself out in a way, but it actually is surprisingly biblical. In the book of Mark, Jesus says, "Truly I tell you, if anyone says to this mountain, 'Go and throw yourself into the sea,' and does not doubt in their heart, but believes that what they say will happen, it will be done for them. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." So that's actually a biblical idea. So there's way more that we could talk about, but I wanted to touch on this because manifestation is this word that's kind of buzzing around the internet, and there actually is a lot of surprising biblical connections to it. However, I have two cautions for you. The first is this. So in manifestation circles, a common answer to why haven't I manifested this already is because of something you're doing, a mental block or a negative thought or not being able to attract it to yourself. And these things might be true, and it puts guilt on the person. Why haven't we gotten pregnant yet? Well, it's something you're doing wrong. God's word is one that delivers us from guilt, and he has the power to act regardless of what we are doing. Second caution I have for you is that in a lot of manifestation circles, they use intentionally secular language. And what I mean by this is phrases are used like "trust the universe" to bring it to you. Now, God created the universe, and if he created it in such a way that the atoms and the molecules and the energies and the vibrations could be manipulated to transfer desires into reality, then so be it. The danger is that taking God out of the equation separates us from our Creator. Mark 8:36 says, "What good is it for someone to gain the entire world, yet forfeit their soul? What good is it to gain every one of our desires, but then lose our soul in the end?" God sent his son to save us from death. Satisfying earthly desires is just a fleeting glimpse. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this content helpful, please feel free to like and subscribe. It does help out the channel. I'll leave the Bible verses we have here in the description, along with some of the things we've talked about. If you have any topics you'd like me to cover, leave a comment below. My name is Adam. This is Bargain Bin Theology. And remember, you get what you pay for.